Hi everyone. I'm hoping you're here. I'm having a little bit of camera issues, and that always is an issue when you're trying to do a live filming. But if you bear with me a minute, I should be able to get this set up. Okay, welcome. Thank you for coming, and we'll get this worked out. Just a moment. Okay.
Before you turn it on, I'm going to show you what it looks like, alright?
It is on now. Okay. Hello, everybody. I'm here and I think I've got it worked out. Let's just see. Sorry about that. Okay. I'm just going to check with my recording engineer just a minute. Okay, I'm back again. I apologize for that. Okay, I'm back again. I apologize for that. I'm just had to work out that glitch. So welcome again, and sorry for those of you who are here right at the beginning and had to cope with my my mess of trying to work this out. Anyway, I think we've got it. So what I've done today is I decided this was a good idea because there's been a long time that I've promised people that I'm going to do a live demo, and I think what I need to do is just give this a try and see how it goes. I'm going to work from my sketchbook today. It's something that I do when I need to relax. It's mostly collage, so I'm sure that, can you hear me now? Some people are saying my voice is uneven. How's that? Somebody let me know. I hope I'm not, I'm in a rural area, so I might be cutting in and out a little bit. I'm hoping not, but please let me know if this is better. I'm actually staying in one spot now. So if somebody can let me know, that would be great, because I appreciate your comments. And it's hard for me to know at this end how I'm sounding. Okay. It's okay? Okay, great. All right, so we'll plot ahead. I'm going to show you, I have done a sketchbook tour of this sketchbook before, and I'm calling it a sketchbook, but it's really a mixed media book. I use collage, I use paint, I use whatever I have on hand, and I find this very easy to do, and it's a very quick way to get a bit of a quick artistic high. For today, actually I was just playing a little bit earlier, and I was playing with some of these images that I just cut out from pieces of paper that I painted on. And honestly, it's as easy as that. There's some days that's all you want to do. And as far as the sketchbook goes, I made it. It's from an old, the book is called The Little Gift Book of Ontario originally, but I used the cover and then just created my own inner workings of it from a watercolor paper that I bonded together with thread. There's different tutorials online for this. This is very simple, but I like doing something, working from a sketchbook or journal that isn't too precious. because this way, when I'm working, I don't care really about the results. I'm not, other than showing it to you today, I'm not showing it widely to a crowd. I'm not selling it. I'm not really meaning anything for it other than me, generally, just as a way to relax and enjoy making. So today, I thought, I don't know how many of you are working as well. I hope some of you are have a sketchbook or some paper there. If not, maybe later. So what my idea today is to just show you what I do. You can basically interpret however you like to interpret it, but I wanted to go through just sort of a course of how I proceed with this kind of thing. And some of it's really quite, may seem a bit kooky, but it really is. If any of you, and I think some of you, seeing some of your names at the beginning, do work in collage already, so it will seem absolutely normal for you. This is an interesting one because this is one that's actually very, to me, a little bit bland and boring. I might have used it as a sample for something else, but typically I like to just use interesting people and work with that. So today I have with me, I have my gouache paint, and I don't know if you can see it, but it's it doesn't really matter what kind of gouache, if you do work in gouache, what kind of gouache you use. This is my, I really like this, it's Caran d'Ache, probably not pronouncing it wrong, but anyway, you know what I mean. And I like it because it's in one palette and I can work from it quite easily and readily, although the tubes are just as nice. So I'll be using that, and I'll be using some of these figures that I've cut out already. There's a variety here. Some of this is, these two are my drawings of my devilish rooster. And this is a photo of myself at maybe 7 years old. And this one is an anonymous woman who's lucky to be in some art today, other than being stuffed away in someone's photo album. So just to give you an example of what I might be thinking of, I'll take something like this, which is just a little bit of colored paper. It's not even on very nice paper. I was probably starting to use it to experiment with my colors and my color palette, and then just kept putting more color down. So it really is not a whole lot of anything, but I do like it. So I just might rip it, and I'll take some of my medium. As I mentioned to some of you earlier, and some of you that know my work, I do like to use matte gel for my glue and also for my sealant, but you can use a variety of things. I just find it works best for really laying down paper nicely. So I'm just going to do whatever strikes me here as interesting. And there are times where I don't have an agenda with my art, and I think sometimes that's a good thing for all of us, is to have those days where you don't have anything really on the go. So this, to me, it really satisfies part of me that needs to do something, and do something that's kind of semi-finished. This was another little, I don't know if this will work or not, but I'm going to give it a try. This is live, right? So this is a little pastel I did, I wasn't really too happy with it, but I was really experimenting with the material. So what I might do is just try and see if this works. I'm not sure it will, but I'm just gluing it with the medium on here. Laying it down. It's probably going to run a little bit with this. That's okay. Kind of, maybe that might work to abstract it a little bit. And then I'm going to take my figure, and similarly I'm going to add her to the piece. let's make sure that we see the little bit of the tree, even though I'm not that fond of the tree. I'd like it to stay. So again, putting the whole mess down, and it's starting to become a new picture. It doesn't really take much to do this, and that didn't take, as you can see, it just took a few minutes of my time, but the elements are important to me. I usually think of a background. I think of maybe another a main subject, and perhaps something else in the background as well to kind of define a little bit more of a story, or just maybe perhaps more interesting to my eye. So I'm going to also, I find that a bit white, the background. I like to fill it in a bit. So I'm going to, not sure what color I'll use, but this is where it comes, where it doesn't really matter. You can just, whatever color you like, you can actually add. And I'm going with some of these oranges. There's not really any rules here, but I'm just going to add some gouache. We'll see how she goes. Maybe I'll blend it a little bit into the background so that it looks a bit more intentional. Oops. And you can color her or not. Sometimes when I'm just doing a sketchbook, I'm not as absorbed in the details of painting the figure up, but I might want to add some splashes of color just to make it a little bit more interesting. Maybe make it pop a bit. I mean, in real life, I'm sure she didn't have a bright red hat, but why not, right? You can just do it because you want to. That is the lovely thing about art, is it doesn't really, there are rules, and yet you don't always have to follow them, and I find that concept very appealing. I'm going to give her some color on her dress too. This is very bright. This is a lot brighter than I normally go for a piece, but in my sketchbook, it gives me an opportunity to try these things out. Like, what's the worst thing that can happen? It's just fun to do it. And I'm working very, very fast. I'm not thinking about it very much, and I think that's another part of it, definitely for me, is that the less thought involved when I'm working in this kind of manner, the more enjoyable it is. Now, I'd like to add a little pencil to some of the details in the face, but it's still a little bit wet, so I think I'm going to have to wait on that a little bit. I might take I love horizontal lines. I'm not even really sure why, but anyway, I'll take that across because that also to me adds a little bit more to it. Okay. Maybe a little on the face as well. And that's probably complete for me. I'm going to take that up a little. My camera is not really pink. There we go. Doesn't really want to stay put, but so this is possibly finished, but I may actually add more later. I'm not sure. I noticed somebody was saying they couldn't hear me, but I wonder if I'm all right now. I can't tell really from my perspective, but I hope that's okay, that you can hear me now. All right. I'm also going to try to have this, I believe it will come up for reviewing. Janice had asked that, and I did experiment a little bit earlier with a short video with my face actually in it, and it did come up again. So if you do prefer to watch this later when it's not live, please feel free to do that. All right. So I'm just going to leave that one for now, and I usually will put a clip in it, like so, so that I can work on another page. I think that'll be all right. And the other one, I think I'll try to do one more because I want to demonstrate that we can do these quickly. And this one, I thought I would take a slightly different approach. This is, I'm standing up now, so my voice might be at a different ladder. It sounds like the sound is better when I'm closer to the phone like this. Okay, good to know. Thanks. Thank you very much, Janice. Okay, so this was a sketch I did just a couple of days ago. It's actually a copy of my sketch because it was in color. But I wondered how this would go if I used the copy of my sketch with one of my pictures of myself. I didn't have anything from that time period in the background. I thought I was a real nature girl, so I thought something natural would be nice. So I'm thinking this, and because, I don't know if you've heard, the roosters have been very well behaved. I haven't heard them crowing. So, but if they weren't, this is what you'd be hearing. So that's kind of what I'm thinking of, is even though this is really a different, this is kind of time travel because obviously I didn't have a rooster back then, but maybe I was imagining having one and now I have one. So I have the setup here that I might use. This, again, this is something very new for me because I haven't really thought to take a picture of or to make a copy of one of my own sketches in black and white and use them in this kind of format. So the more you can have of your own doing, I think the more interesting it can be. All right, I'm glad the sound is better. I think I need to stand up. That's the problem. I was sitting down and I was probably too far from the microphone. So I'm just going to plaster this one down. I don't know why this is still it wants to go its own way. There we go. All right. So I'm just going to put that down. Sometimes for the larger, some pieces do better with glue than the medium. This is a fairly thick paper. Okay, so yeah, I think it does personalize it a little bit more when it's my sketch and me. And if you're lucky enough to have old photos of yourself or your family, then it's kind of nice to be able to use them this way. And honestly, I'm emphasizing how this is just fun to put together and that I'm not spending a lot of time concerned about where these elements are going to go. I am concerned that my phone keeps moving on me, but other than that, I guess when I move the drafting table, I'm moving the phone because it's clipped onto it. There we go. Sorry if I'm making you dizzy. All right. There we go. All right. No, I think it's haunted today. There's something here trying to haunt all my efforts at technology. Okay, stay still. There you go. So you get the idea. It's a way, and I do like this in black and white. I'm just kind of wondering if I can use some gray tones to make it interesting as well. So I'm going to try some gouache, which is kind of grayish. This might look terrible, but it might also work too. That's more of an umber. It's getting a little bit of brown tones in it, but that's okay too. All right. Now, maybe later I might add a lot more details. As it stands now, I'm not really sure what I want to do with the upper part. Do I want a splash of color, or do I want to keep it more like more gray tones, monotone look, or am I interested in coloring it up a little bit more? I don't know, I'm kind of fond of it like this. So, but if I did, okay, maybe let's just try it and see what happens. Well, I think I still might keep it rather somber. I don't know, let's just see. If you did hear the roosters, I'm really not, they're so much part of my background that normally I can't hear them myself. And I know that when I'm on the phone, people will comment on that, but usually I do not hear them because they're so much part of my life. And I'm just going to blend that in a little bit like it's sort of intentional. The nice thing about gouache is if I'm not happy with it, I can always go back later and paint over it, or I could just have a little play with this because I do have some medium along with this, so we'll just color that in too. Yeah, I'm not sure where it goes, and often what I will do is later I might do more on it. In fact, I might post how I add to this a bit later on, because this is a little bit, I've never, as I said, this is the first time I've approached it with my sketch. So it is a different effect for sure. Anyway, I might need that to dry before I add any pencil or anything else to it. But it's been probably about a half an hour now, we've gone through this this adventure of me trying to do a workshop live, and I'll have to decide whether I do this again because it is a little bit more daunting. I can't edit, obviously, and if the phone or my equipment is not cooperating, or my voice, then it doesn't make it a pleasant experience for you either. So anyway, let me know in the comments. I apologize to those who could not hear me or that the sound was poor. And I'll rethink this and see what I might do next time. And let me know what you're looking for too, because I'm happy to do different kinds of either live or taped tutorials. But I do love the idea that there's actually people there listening. Even if you're not commenting, I know you're there. So that's really encouraging for me. It's kind of nice, even if you're invisible. So here's the other one again. It's a little bit more dry. Oops. I'm thinking I should probably put something again between these. My phone does not want to stay still. See, it just wants to slant its own way. But anyway, maybe we'll just slant here with it. There. Okay. So I'm going to do this. Take a look at this one again. It's mostly dry. I don't know. I use Inktense pencils sometimes when I'm doing this work. And sometimes I can get a kind of a nicer line. I think it's still a little wet. I don't want to do too much with this, but you can do a little definition where maybe the paint wasn't enough. And I can get a little bit of her hair here, maybe an eyebrow. It's kind of fun to go over with pencil afterwards. And again, it's not taking a long time. I'm kind of wondering whether I should add another rooster here. What do you think? It feels like she needs a little bit more. It's a very large rooster, but nonetheless, I think it actually could add a little bit of je ne sais quoi. We'll just see. Okay, again, this is a photocopy of one of my sketches. I'm participating in the 3 materials challenge right now, which is really interesting and a little bit daunting, really, because it is hard to do just 3, depending on what you're drawing. This one was easy because he was in black and white. Yeah, okay, there you have it. So to me, he's a little bit boring too, just on his own. It's not really boring, but just a little boring. So I might add a little bit of color. Let's see what happens. As an artist, I'm sure you find that you get attracted to similar colors over and over again, and I find my palette tends to be a lot of ochres, and today for some reason I'm feeling the orange. Maybe it's the sunny skies. Here we go. So that's pretty simple. It doesn't really, it's not very much, and I might add more later, or I might just add a little. Sometimes I add circles, and I do that by using something like a lid to help me along with it. And quickly, on the back of my paper, I'll make a circle, cut it out. When in doubt, for an extra element, I add a circle, because it can be so many things. It can be the sun, it can be just the feeling of circular. Oh, I think that might work, so we'll add that there. I didn't have a plan for this at all, so there we have it. Thank you, Janice. Thanks for your kind comments. I can finally see the comments now that I'm standing up. All right. So it's a little dirty there. This is kind of a funny little piece, but it's a sketchbook page, so that's the nice thing about it. It doesn't matter. Later on, I might look at it and add, as I said, a few elements or things, but right now, it's just satisfied an itch. It's nice to do something colorful, and what I like to do is often when I do pages like this, I'll close up my book when it dries, and then I will revisit it the next day. So I'll take a look and see and think what I want to add or take away. And if I really don't like a page, sometimes I just leave it, and sometimes I cover it up or do something else. I might cover this one up because it's, I don't know, it's just too magazine-y or something, I don't know. Okay, so Deborah is asking, why do I have a bubble under paper from Mod Podge? If your paper is thin, you're going to get bubbles, and it's pretty hard to avoid. Sometimes you can get lucky and get both sides really smooth when you're adding the, if it is podge you're using, when you're adding it to this side, to the back of your image, and also to your page. You can sometimes smooth it out pretty easily that way, but it is difficult if you're just using something like bond paper or cartridge paper or normal sketchbook paper, which is why with this sketchbook I've used heavier weight. And these are actually, it was a cheap watercolor book I got from the like a dollar type store, and then I just bound it to put it in here. So again, I'm not too precious, but it's a better surface to work with. So you can see I can get my images down fairly flush when I'm using the heavier paper. So both for my images and for my backgrounds. So that's often where you get the bubbles. You can work with bubbles too. Luckily, if you're just using doing this as a sketchbook, don't worry about it so much. And you can always cover up the bubbles with something else. Sometimes I've got lucky and I've just added more, well, for me, the medium, and then built it up. So you're using cardstock too. I think the only thing I can think of is that whatever you're putting on top then is, Deborah asked, I'm using cardstock. So I think if you completely cover each side, the surface and the image at the back, and then try to get it down really nice and careful with your fingers. I use my fingers anyway. It should be fine. I'm not sure why. I haven't used Mod Podge for a while, but I have used it before. But usually with this medium, it's very thick and it works well. So to get the best effect, I'd always recommend something like this, like either a matte medium or a matte gel, because you'll get more of a real glue. For playing right now, I think the Mod Podge is fine, but if the bubbles are bothering you, it's the only thing I could think of is that it's either on uneven, or maybe too much podge in some areas and not enough in others, and then you've got to get it down too. Like I haven't done that too much. I did it mostly with my brush here. If you notice afterwards, right away I press it down as well as I can. So there's that. So I'm not sure. I hope that helps a little bit. I know that's a common issue, and I've done paintings before, and it's like, oh no, it's too bubbly, and I've had to really build up the medium in order to make it flush enough, and sometimes I've had to do it over again. So it is a bit of a pain when that happens. So hopefully that answers a bit of the bubble question. If anyone else has any ideas, please chime in, because that's just been my experience. But anyway, so with these ones, these particular ones we're working on today, I think I even chose, maybe when I was thinking about today, images that were a little bit more playful, because I think it's important for all artists and all creators to have some time to just pull things together in a fun way. And sometimes you learn some techniques that you don't think, you think, wow, that's a spin on what I was doing before. Maybe I'll use that. So for example, I might be using this idea of my sketches in a different way. Even though I thought of them as just originals, here they are. I can make them work again for me. I like the idea of being able to reuse images like that. So I don't know. I think that's about, I don't want to go on and on. I'm hoping that this helped a little bit. There's so much more we could do with it. Please let me know if there's an interest in doing other sort of similar workshops. This was a shorty, but again, I was a little bit less than confident today putting this together because I wasn't sure about my mechanicals here. so Thank you for those of you who are here and for watching. And there might be some of you later watching, which I'm grateful for too. And I've learned a lot today about doing this and what I need to do to perhaps do it a little bit more efficiently. So thank you for bearing with me and my crazy camera that keeps moving around. So yeah, so keep finding some images you really enjoy. Keep your own, if you are someone who likes to collect collage materials, then this is a great place to put them. They don't always have to be in a finished piece of work. It can be just something here that you really enjoy. And another thought too is if you really like it and you think, boy, I could see that on a card or something, then take a picture of it, get it printed, have it as a part of a card series or print series, something that you could use again. You might actually find something really quite precious that you do in your sketchbook, but otherwise just have fun with it. Okay, so Janice is asking about, please talk about palette. Palette as in my color palette, or my palette, this palette, or this palette. Honestly, quite almost embarrassingly true for me is that I don't follow anything. It's more with colors, it's generally what appeals to me. And perhaps I don't worry about enough. When I'm working on a painting, I tend to keep more somber colors and somber shades, umber, siennas, grays, blues. Sorry. Okay, the actual palette. This is easier for me, Janice. Thank you. Okay, so my color palette. I'll show you. This is my. This is gouache, and a lot of people don't use this method. They use gouache in tubes, but I find I bought this as a set. It wasn't cheap, I must say, but it's lasted already. It's been 2 years, and I use it all the time. Does it come in small wells? I'm not sure. You'll have to look into that. This one, it was dear, as I said, but I can see this lasting me a few more years. With gouache in tubes, which is what I've always used before, they dry up really quickly. If you're not really careful, even if you are, sometimes they dry up quickly. So I would recommend this if you can, you know, invest in it. It's a good investment because it's also very portable. It's easier to access, I think. Although I like the little tubes, that was how I first got acquainted with gouache. But this one, I'm not actually saying you need to buy this brand, but I haven't seen anybody else that makes them in a palette like this. So if anyone knows of anyone else that makes palette gouache, let us know, please, because it is quite nice. That the colors are great, and I tend to use them a little bit more like watercolor. So when I used to use gouache years ago, I was not happy with it. I found it too thick and too opaque, and you can use that as well. A lot of illustrators use gouache because it is very opaque, but I like the qualities of it that it is transparent as well as opaque, and you can layer it when it dries. It's a beautiful medium, actually. I think I don't use as much as I do with acrylic paint, so it's quite lovely in so many ways. So thank you, gouache. The other thing too is you can reconstitute it. So if on my here, and I've kept my actual mixing palettes like this. It looks messy, but what I do is I can use these colors. Sometimes are really useful for me. I just reconstitute it with water, and I can use it again. So again, it lasts and lasts and lasts. So yeah, that's my my little advertisement for gouache. All right. Anyway, I think coming to an end. I don't know what else I can do here unless there's any more questions. And I just want to thank you all for being here, and thank you for your questions. Yeah, and thanks, Janice, for being here as well, and anyone else. And apologies to those who came here early and couldn't hear me. So I'll look at this video afterwards and probably cringe. But anyway, it's a learning experience. So thanks for bearing with me, and keep on creating. And what I did also is I made this just in case some of you don't know my work and just landed here today. Here is a little bit of information about where you can find me. This heathermurray.net is my my art for sale page. Ageless Artists at substack.com is my newsletter, my regular newsletter for artists, primarily aimed at artists over 50. And Artist Jetpack at Substack is where there's a bit more of conversation for working artists. So anyway, there you go. Thank you very much for coming here today. And oh, good, Chris. I'm glad to hear that. I wondered about that. I know you disappeared earlier, and I thought, oh, I've just sent somebody astray because of my sound engineering here. Anyway, I guess this is what it's all about, right? It's not going to be slick, but it was good. Actually, I'm not on Threads, Janice. I'm thinking though on Substack I might do a little bit more on notes. I'm still on Instagram, still a bit on Facebook, but there's just too much. I'm trying to really consolidate and stay with mostly Substack. And Artist Jetpack on Substack and Ageless Artist, and then a little bit on Facebook and Instagram as well. Okay, so now no, I haven't been on Threads. I thought it was just another thing to do. So yeah, okay. Alrighty, okay. So thank you everybody, and until next time, please let me know what you thought of today, and I won't. Anything goes because it's good for me to get the feedback. Chris just asked, will this video be added on my YouTube channel? And yes, it will be, I believe, because the one I did earlier, which was just kind of a preview for today with my actual face on it, it came up a little bit later. So I don't know if they have to go through it and decide whether it's appropriate or not, and then they allow you to save it, but I'm pretty sure it will be. So if it can be, I will add it. So that's my answer. It's all new to me today. I've put many videos on YouTube, but I've never tried this live thing. So thanks. Alrighty. Okay. So I'm gonna go now. Thank you everybody, and I appreciate it. And if you haven't subscribed already to my YouTube page, please do, because I'll probably be. Oh, thank you. I think I will do another live then. If I think it's worthwhile, I will definitely do another live. I've thought about doing Zoom, but Zoom can be expensive, and sometimes people don't like to have their faces on Zoom. So that's a possibility in the future. We'll see. But if you think this is a place to start, then I'll definitely come back. So thank you everybody for your patience, and for those of you who are here, I know a lot of you have supported me over time, and I really appreciate that too. Okay, alrighty, all right, I'm gonna say goodbye really this time, right? Okay, bye-bye, and keep on making art, okay? Thank you.